Penn State falls to the Buckeyes here in Columbus. Andrew Callisto with the Blue White Tailgate Podcast. Frank Manani of the York Daily Record and Mike Gross of Gross Rational Product. We are here to recap it. Guys, first half starts off really, really well for Penn State. First drive starts off really, really well for Penn State. That is not how this game obviously finished.
Yeah, I thought there was a sequence in the second quarter where it could have really gotten interesting, and they got a break with that fumble deep in Ohio State territory, which I'm not sure was really a fumble, but they got that, and they cashed it in, and it looked for a while like Penn State was kind of walking the tightrope, but ultimately they could not stay behind these great Ohio State wide receivers, great athletes, and a great performance by their quarterback, I thought.
Yeah, I think it showed that Penn State doesn't really have the full game focus to compete in a game like this, an environment like this. And, I'm not sure if they don't have the athleticism, but the secondary, though, and the defense just didn't give the second half. I mean, I know that they're not as good as maybe the best receiving group in the country, but they're better than what they showed. At least I think they have more talent than that. But this is 5 losses in a row, and to me, I just see a let up in the second half.
It could be mental and emotional at this point. Yeah, I mean, both teams coming off a bye. Think about how much different places they're coming out of the bye in. These two teams, I think. That may be part of it, but ultimately, for a while this season, it seemed like Ohio State kind of had the training wheels of this quarterback. Not today. Not today. They pushed it down the field, and Penn State, which said that pushing it down the field vertically in the pass game on offense was a priority, was utterly unable to do that.
I mean, here's the thing, too. Talking to Terry Smith and a player like Amari Campbell.
That's where I wanted to go. Yeah.
Experience. They don't have answers, really. Yeah. I mean, they don't really have answers for what happened in the second half, because 38-14 is not on any kind of level what you would expect, what you want, what's satisfying, what's satisfactory. And they don't have answers, and they play arguably one of the best teams in the country then again next week. So I don't know what.
Kind of a gloomy outlook here,
hey, the first half was impressive, but it's almost like it's kind of washed away.
Yeah, exactly. There's no momentum to be actually built off of what was accomplished in the first half. There are no moral victories in this business. And I asked Terry Smith just how close do you feel you are to getting out of the storm? He said he likes the phrase, "We're in the middle of the storm. We got to get out." Like, do you see a crack? He says you got to string together 3 plays. That would be a 3 and out after coming out after halftime, going in with the momentum. Frank, going back to Amari Campbell, we were all there when he was talking. There was anger in his eyes when he's talking in post-game, at least the way I saw it, about, he's like, 9 guys are doing the job, 10 guys are doing the job. He was asked, is it a communication thing? He said no. What do we make of this from the defensive side of the ball?
It's like they've just been daggered every week to the point where I think there's enough guys that are not giving 100% focus and effort for a full game. And here's a guy who's a transfer. He has no Penn State connection before this year, and he's the one, to me, that's maybe upholding Penn State's defensive tradition and effort as well or better than anyone. Why the other guys are not giving that same type of effort and production, I don't know if we're going to see it. I mean, he's giving it. He's
pissed.
Doing it, and he's frustrated, and he doesn't know what to say, and I think he just can't believe that when you're preached how to play defense and what you need to do, how it's not being executed.
Yeah, and I think on the other side of the ball, they had a pretty good idea today. I thought game plan was pretty good. I mean, we saw formations with 7 offensive linemen and 2 tight ends, and at times that was very effective. It worked for a 26-yard gain in the first play of the game. It worked for a touchdown on the late in the first half with Nick Singleton. They had a pretty good idea, but again, that inability to push the ball down the field vertically, I thought ended up being a big issue. I thought the offense was a little bit less confounding, though, than as Frank is talking about the defense.
Yeah, and the offense did show there was a lot more window dressing, a lot more different formation. I sort of understand what they're setting up sometimes, but
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No.
Kotelnicki beleaguered. I thought he had a pretty good game
Yeah.
today, and they did do some things. I guess the thing that they hid from us at practice last week, I guess that was the install that maybe that was the 7 offensive lineman thing. But
I thought you were going Liam Clifford.
I think it was both. I said he heard
Maybe
me
it was
cracking lines up on the top of the press box, going, that must be the install right there. As soon as
The thing that kills you, I mean, the thing that makes you wonder if Ethan Grunkemeyer gets hurt, do we see Liam Clifford as the quarterback?
Yeah.
I think we might have, honestly.
Somebody asked about
anyway.
Liam to Terry Smith after the game, and they didn't get to. And then I wanted to ask the follow up, but didn't get to, which was, if Grunkemeyer goes out, is Liam Clifford the quarterback? I
Well,
don't
that's
know.
a decision we would have to come to and make during the game.
That's true.
But-
That's true, Frank.
Your
Point is a good one.
two things. This does nothing to quell the hype around Brian Hartline. This game does nothing to quell the hype around Brian Hartline. We have to touch on it.
Nice.
I thought we might get him in the post-game interview.
I got a great picture of him standing right here on the 10-yard line. It's up on Twitter. Pat Kraft, I went up to the AD. I made sure to search out Pat Kraft after the game. I did not see him make contact with Brian Hartline. I thought that would have been one to set everybody off. I tried my best.
You're trying to get some news. You're trying to make it news.
Exactly. It kind of was jarring, though, to watch with ease, not just Ohio State carving up Penn State's secondary with Julian Saint and the wide receivers. It was blowing past Penn State's secondary multiple times. That's a little bit different than being sliced and diced with in cuts and balls
That's
being
right.
caught in front of you.
Yeah.
A little bit jarring.
It's a combination of a lot of things. I mean, you do. Terry Smith said these two Ohio State receivers may be the best he's ever seen. I'm not going to argue.
Yep.
They've had great ones. Maybe they are. But then you combine that with Penn State going through this horrendous losing streak and losing players and losing their head coach. And then the factor is, I mean, you have a quarterback who's making only a second career start in like the two toughest environments possible for his two first starts of his career.
That's true.
And they don't have much answer. You know, it's like the defense falters, but then if you Drew Aller in there and the offense you think you might be able to answer that. Well, their line for success is so thin on offense against a team like this.
Against a team like this, that's
with
right.
a second game quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just not much. It's just one thing upon another. Things don't get easier for 2 weeks, but I'm not sure where their heads are in 2 weeks.
Yeah, if
they
they
get
have
them
mental and
issues.
emotional issues now, I mean, wow, what do you do next week against an offense that is, at least statistically, as good as this one?
You go back to 2004, and it's a little bit different vibe, as that team was not good, then caught fire. You kind of start to wonder.
But
I
there
know
are
it's a different era about
similarities.
Yeah, there are similarities here. Last thing I want to touch on is Grunkemeyer. On the road at Iowa, had some obvious growing pains. Not the worst performance we've seen from a backup quarterback at Iowa. Comes here. I thought he, acquiesced himself pretty well to what was going on. Still can't throw the ball down the field, but, it's still 17-14 at halftime.
I'm sorry. One thing that was true, and I think it has mostly been true this year, they played pretty clean football. There have not been a ton of pre-snap penalties. There have not been a ton of turnovers. There have not been a ton of plays where it looked like offensively they don't know what they're doing. And I think Grunkemeyer gets some credit for that, for being the understudy who is kind of knows his lines,
He's done a great job of running the basic foundation of the offense. I think at Penn State, you'd also then hope for the second part is there be a little more dynamic abilities here. And I think that's a little frustrating for people to watch. So he's running it well, but this is the opposite of dynamic. I think his first 11 completions went for like 85 yards. That's almost hard to do. So, on one hand, you give him credit, but on the second hand, if that's what your quarterback is only able to do, that's not going to work. Julian Sayin is a freshman too.
Yep.
And a first-year freshman, right? Or is he a redshirt?
He was at Alabama, right?
He was at Alabama.
Okay, so, but we're talking the same, and they don't look like the same offense and the same quarterback at all.
No,
so
not at all.
are we just looking more ahead to trying to get through the rest of the season?
I think we're grasping at straws for positivity. And,
That's right.
like Terry was asked, is it the horizontal passing game? Is that calling? Is it missing calls? Is it execution? Terry said it's a whole circle.
Yeah.
So it comes down to play calling. If you're looking for a bright spot, maybe it's the pass over the middle at the end of the game.
Yeah.
Because it was vertical, and maybe there is hope that something happens on that front. Frank, closing thought.
Well, I think you're trying to get through the next game as best as you can, and then you have 3 games to end the season that at least are potentially winnable. And you go back to 2004, where their defense held them together to the point where they actually could win a couple games at the end. I think the biggest thing is, can they hold together for the last few games of the year and try to get some positivity? That's what the challenge is.
Yeah, and if they could not do that today, or at least some of them could not do that today, it's gonna get exponentially tougher to continue to do it. And remember, the backdrop of this is there's going to be big changes. Big changes are coming for the players, for the staff. Who knows?
Absolutely. Future of Penn State, cloudy at best, especially leaving
Weather
the
report.
horseshoe here today. 38-14 loss for the Nittany Lions. Make sure you follow Frank at the YDR York Daily Record, YDR Penn State on Twitter, at mgrossgrp for the Gross Rational Product. Make sure you're subscribing to Mike's Substack and also following us on YouTube. Make sure you like, subscribe, tell your friends about it. Free podcast to take you inside the locker room, press room, all the media availabilities here with Penn State football. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate you guys tuning in.